All right, great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joey Vitale. I'm a startup attorney. But before I talk more, there's someone that I want you to meet. So this is Jess. You might have seen her before at some startup events. She's an entrepreneur here in St. Louis, and she's got a pretty cool story. Her dad is in the jewelry business, and he's kind of a rock star. There's a pun for my partner. But her dad, I didn't know this was possible, but he created a gemstone, and that's it pictured right there. He named it Jessite after his daughter Jess. So now Jess is also in the jewelry business. She's got her own studio. This is what it looks like. I met with her about a month ago, and we talked for 5 hours about the legal side of her business story. And I learned that it took Jess months to get all of the basic legal documents done for her business. She couldn't afford an attorney, which is common for new businesses, and so she just hopped on Google, went down a rabbit hole of information overload, and then eventually just said, okay, well, I'll put the pieces together where I can and hope for the best. And one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was, she said, Joey, I'm not stupid. I have a background in business and marketing. This should be easier. It shouldn't take me months to get this basic legal stuff done. And I agree with her, and that's really the problem here. So right now, if you're a new business, you have 3 options when it comes to getting legal help. You can either pay an attorney, which costs a lot of money, or you can spend a little bit less through an online legal service like LegalZoom and get documents prepared for you, but again, it still costs money. Or you can do what Jess did, hop on Google and just kind of go down that rabbit hole of information overload that we all know happens when we try and find stuff out on Google. There's a problem here, which is honestly, all 3 of these options suck if you're a new business. And that's hard for me to say as an attorney, but the reality is that there's something that startups need that they're not getting with any of these options. And that's a legal roadmap. Startups need to know what they don't know. They need to know where to start. They need some sense of where the finish line is. And most importantly, they need to get to a point where they can start acting and stop researching. And so we are building that roadmap. I'm about to say something pretty bold, which is that my team is confident that if you use Startup Legal TV, your business can manage 80% of your own legal issues. So Startup Legal TV is basically a website with videos, blog posts, checklists, cheat sheets that give you that sense of direction that you need. And obviously, to make it that roadmap that allows you to do 80% of what you need to do, it has to be an awesome roadmap. And so to do that, we're focusing on 2 things. The first is actionability. And by that, I mean what I said earlier. We want to get startups to a point where they can stop researching and start acting. So whether you're watching a video or you're reading one of our blog posts, when you're done, you actually know what to do, and you can start implementing what you learned. And the second thing is being accessible. And part of that, sure, is being affordable. We want to make sure that startups can afford our product, but it's more than that. We want startups to be able to understand what our content is. So that means stripping away the legalese of all of this legal stuff, which is difficult for attorneys, and also making it understandable so that even if you're new to business, you can get a solid understanding of what these topics mean. So I covered what we are about. It's also important to cover what we're not. The first thing is that we're not a law firm. We don't have clients. We don't give specific legal advice. Instead, what we do is we focus on giving general information that's applicable to a wide audience. The second thing, and we get this a lot, is we're not LegalZoom. LegalZoom will auto-complete documents for you. We do more than that. We tell you whether or not you need the documents in the first place, and then we give you templates, we explain what the language means, and then we show you how and when to use them. And the third thing is, we're not out to make law firms go out of business. We definitely believe that there are instances where it's best to hire an attorney, and we're very transparent in our content of where you need to make that choice. So real quickly, I want to introduce our team. It's me, Chris Daming, Mary Hodges. We're all here. There's one other person, not really a person, but Templeton is our mascot, thank you. And he couldn't make it here this morning, but he's also a part of our team. If you want to see him, you're going to have to ask his dad, Chris over here. So the status of where we're at now is our long-term goal is to have a subscription model. Think of it like a legal Netflix for entrepreneurs, but instead of it being entertainment, it's educational. So the big thing there is that we'll have customized playlists for you. So whether you're in a certain stage of your business or you have certain questions, we have custom-made playlists for you. And if you don't know where to start, we have playlists for that as well. But that's a huge undertaking, and so we wanted to start smaller, and so we recently launched the LLC Starter Pack, which is an 8-video online course for single-member LLC owners. And what's awesome about it is that it's under an hour's worth of video, which means that you can knock out this entire course in a weekend and have your business formed and operating rather than spending months like Jess did. And we're here today because we need input from the community. I'm excited for the feedback that you guys have for us. Some of our big questions are, 1, do you find value to this legal roadmap idea? 2, how should we price our product, our subscription plan? And then 3, to what extent should we try and be a fun company when at the end of the day we're selling legal information? And that's it.
Thank you very much. We'll open it up to questions. Who wants to start?
Have you put together something for forming a 501c3?
That is on our to-do list. We haven't launched any of that content yet.
Because at that price point, there are thousands who will want this. Because $97 is no money.
That's a great point.
So go there. Who's your competition?
You know, that's a good question. There's really not anybody in our space doing specifically what we're doing. There are some people who are trying to disrupt the law firm space by giving legal information like this that's not in a law firm setting. But what sets us apart is our focus on videos, but also, like I said, our actionability focus. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you read a legal blog, you've probably seen that their tips are pretty generic, and then you walk away feeling that you have more to research. So that's our goal, is to make it as takeaway as possible on every piece of content.
Also, your subscription service, you need to be real specific about what people get for their subscription. If it's an hour of personal attention to your company, or those kinds of things, you got to be real specific. And you could probably charge up to $25 a month.
I think 25 grand. Thank you.
Just to let you know that there's also Legal Shields out there. And Legal Shield, they charge $20 a month for personal and $40 a month for business. And they do connect you directly to lawyers that will answer questions for you. So it's a much more personalized service based upon what you need. So it is relatively inexpensive, and you go to their website, they have all sorts of videos and all sorts of templates out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've looked into the competition, and like I said, there's not something that really gives step-by-step, like do-it-yourself kind of explanations. Do you guys have any responses to that?
Yeah, so with Legal Shield, I think the big issue there is it still has the one-off problem, which is you get to go ask an attorney questions. Well, what if you don't know what questions to ask? And that's kind of where we come in. Our goal is to actually just get, basically, so you know exactly the questions to ask. You have the roadmap to everything. That's one thing. 2, with Legal Shield, it's attorneys, and they still have the incentive for the long game. Their long game is this might be more complicated, so you might need to hire me for something that's outside the Legal Shield plan. We don't have that long game. We've intentionally tried to be transparent, and we don't have an end game to get you to hire us as attorneys. So you won't think, oh, this is why they're doing this. They're just giving us this cheap plan so that we'll have to pay a lot more in the long run. That's not our idea.
And to piggyback off that, we've actually had discussions about maybe in the future one day seeing how we could partner with a company like Legal Shield that does serve a component that our service doesn't. Because you do get that one-on-one relationship. To a degree, it has some limitations, but for a very affordable price, you could have that personal relationship as well. So we have considered, well, we're not doing exactly what they're doing, but how could we collaborate together to fill all those gaps? Because we know that there are, like we said, we're going to be transparent about when there are times that a lawyer can really serve you and they can give you great advice and your situation might be too complicated for us to explain. So those are things we're all working out and thinking about in the future about how we can partner with some of these companies that are disrupting the traditional model to really give a holistic, comprehensive plan for somebody.
So can I say what you are doing is similar like the law firm offer 1 hour or 2 hours of free consultant? And I have a second question is how many videos do you have and who are created those videos?
So I'll answer your second question first, which is that we have over 100 videos in queue. With that LLC Starter Pack, we currently have 8 videos that are live. And then, can you repeat the first question?
The first question is a lot of law firms, they offer like 1 hour or 2 hours of free consultant before they really, sign the contract. So can I say what you're doing is similar like the services they are offering in their office, like 1 hour free consultant?
Yeah, so we, picking off of what Chris said earlier, our end game isn't to have that personal, specific relationship with you as a customer, but a lot of our content we will be giving away for free. So we will have free videos on YouTube, blog posts that will let people see the type of product that they get from us, and then we'll let them know what will be a part of our subscription thing as well.
Yeah, I think another thing with that, and just in law firms in general, is you're not going to find a lot of the people that are in this incubator going into a law firm and having a securities attorney, an IP attorney, corporate law attorney, an employment law attorney, all sitting down with them for that 1 hour and giving away all this free legal advice and not expecting anything in return. So a lot of times with one attorney, they might be a corporate law attorney. Most likely people will deal a lot with them. But they won't get a chance to know about all those other sectors, and that corporate law attorney can't give them the roadmap or the legal advice, which we're not giving, the legal guidance to give them context about the other types of law that they don't know about.
And to piggyback, like I said, we do realize there's a time when the attorney is really necessary in a business relationship. And oftentimes, and what I hear from people who just have to, if they don't have a personal referral from somebody, they go on Google and they have to do a Google search for IP, intellectual property attorney in St. Louis, and then you get all these search results, and you really have no idea what kind of questions to ask, who you're doing business with, and it can be very confusing and daunting for a business owner. So a lot of it is just equipping you with understanding what you don't know, and if that point in time comes where you do have to ask an attorney or you do need to get an attorney, you really are comfortable knowing what questions to ask, and then you can feel better about what attorney you actually do hire because you are a little educated on the topic. Yes.
As part of your revenue model, I don't know why you wouldn't want to have law firms specifically, maybe geographically or whatever, want to, list with you guys and say, once you have studied this or once you think you need to move beyond us, here's our, preferred list to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think.
That's a really good point. I mean, that is something that we've talked about. One of our hesitancies there is we really want to make it clear to people when they see our site that we're not trying to just upsell other law firms, that we're not trying to make them upsell to hiring an attorney. But to the extent that they need help, yeah, we'd love to have a referral list of good attorneys that we recommend.
Do you have kind of a marketing strategy going forward, because there is Legal Shield? There is all this other stuff that people will easily, quite frankly, confuse you with them. Is there any way you're going to kind of cut through the clutter, and do you have a strategy there?
Yeah, our strategy right now in terms of marketing is getting like a really big blog library of content out there, and then promoting that blog content.
How are you going to promote it?
Well, that's a great question, and right now it's through social media, but we definitely we just hired a marketing person, and we're we're really focused on trying to figure out what to do with marketing to make this work for us. Do you have any suggestions?
No.
Yeah, I do have a suggestion. At my business meetup group yesterday, AppNotch is a startup here in St. Louis, but they'll turn your website into a app either for Apple or Android, and that helps with your SEO. But there's that's just another way to reach people, especially in the mobile area, and they're cheap.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And maybe to get your guys' input here, we had all really talked about wanting to have the community aspect. So if we're doing these, marketing list building strategies and getting people on our email list, and we're able to stay in contact with them, and having a Facebook group or whatever, things that I don't personally see LegalZoom doing, but really having a community of people, much like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, but much like, I don't know if you use lead pages, they all have their cult of people that just swear by using lead pages. And they're very active with helping people and reaching out to them and staying in contact with them. So we were thinking about that aspect, but then again, we understand that legal's just not the most fun topic, it's not the sexiest topic. So do you guys have any feedback on whether that effort would be, you think that effort would be valuable to the community?
One of the things I saw when we were starting up our company is that we did a lot of work on getting our legal infrastructure in place. Essentially, we kind of viewed it as an insurance product. We're trying to set up our structure to insure our business in the future. But once we had it set up, we kind of left it alone, because that's not our business. Our business is not law. Our business is to generate our product and to keep going. Really what I would hope to do is never be part of a legal community. I just want to set this thing and forget it. I think a lot of people are probably like that.
What you might consider being part of is other community support systems. So for example, like I said about the 501c3, there's an organization called AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals. If you were a sponsor or a partner with them, then you'd have access to all these other folks, and they'd have access to you. There may be other community type groups. And if you don't want to have a preferred list of law firms, have a white paper. How do you know when you need more than us? These are the questions to ask yourself. This is what you need to ask to find out who's a good attorney for you, so that you're giving information to people without actually endorsing anybody. And in a way, you're kind of setting the standard for anybody who wants to be part of your system.
That's great. Thank you.
What is the aversion to using this as lead generation for startup legal firm that you have? I'm just curious why there's so much, tension between like having this list of referrals versus just straight up you're building an interesting product. Why not just use it as lead gen for working one-on-one?
The first part of that is that as a company, we can't be a law firm. And so we want to make sure that we understand that what we're doing is not a law firm. The second thing is that the three of us, our dream is for this to do well enough for us to close our law firms.
I don't want the one-on-one relationship.
But yeah, we definitely have plans in the future of creating, because really if we do promote attorneys, we'd like to promote ourselves. But we think we're pretty good, but we don't want to do that. And so once we get to a point that's kind of a later phase, we'll be recommending law firms. We're even thinking about having an end of Startup Legal TV that helps new law student or new lawyers who have graduated law school learn this area of the law, and then they would kind of go through our certification program to assist if people go through our subscription and need an attorney.
Yeah, to your point, what I meant earlier was our end game isn't to give the referrals to us, and so right now our phase is we're trying to keep a really narrow focus. Let's get this product with videos launched, and then let's figure out what we'll do. We have a ton of other things. So to what you're talking about and what you had mentioned, we talked about trying to get 1 to 2 attorneys in every single state that would be on some type of referral list. And not only would they be referrals, there's a lot of income opportunities there. You can do it through where they would pay to be on the list. We've talked about having them be part of our content marketing. Maybe we don't know a lot about securities law, for example, so we might find a securities law attorney in Arizona, and then he's going to be helping us a lot with that marketing, and then he's going to feel like he's more of the team, and then he's going to promote within his state. So definitely it's totally on the table, but we'll cross that bridge as soon as we get this thing launched.
Thank you guys, you've been great.
Anything else?